Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. As we had promised earlier, that we'll be doing at least one webinar every month. We are here today with a webinar on how you integrate Plaid with ERPNext. With me today is Rijul, who is the man behind this integration and somebody who is well versed with how the integrations work. And he would be taking you through the Plaid integration. He'll be available for your questions. Now, just some basic rules, basic ground rules, wherein you're supposed to keep your mobile phones on, silent in case you're speaking. Would appreciate if you guys are on mute while Rijul is presenting the demonstration. And if you have any questions, you have the chat box accessible. You can just type in your questions. We'll take those questions at the end of the session. And we'll have a separate Q&A session as well to answer all your questions that you might have. In case, if we are not able to answer a certain question, we'll park that question, we'll take them back and come back with a solution. We'll send you on your respective emails. Now, as you're aware, Plaid actually makes it easier to connect your bank to the apps you want to use, right? You can have one bank or a set of banks that you're working with, and you can use Plaid for banking, lending, finance. They offer several services. However, at ERPNext, we use Plaid integration for automated bank reconciliations. And it's not just ERPNext. No, there are several softwares out there, several platforms out there who use Plaid, for automated bank reconciliations. So let's hear it from Rijul. Let them showcase how Plaid integration work with ERPNext, and that's about it. So over to you, Rijul.
Yep, thanks. Okay, quick hello to everyone. Good evening, good morning, depending where you are in the world. My name is Rijul, and I've been working on ERPNext implementations in various regions, various industries, and various a lot of different use cases actually. Integrations are quite important to everyone's use cases. They make life easy, and hence we are here to help you out. I'll begin the demonstration of how we are going to integrate Plaid with ERPNext. And as KD said, we'll take questions at the end of the presentation. I'll begin with sharing my screen. Let me know once it's visible. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, Rijul, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So what you're seeing right now is just an empty ERPNext account. There's no setup done as such. We'll be beginning from scratch, and I'll take you through the prerequisites of this integration. I'll take you through the method of how we do things, and I'll even try and show you a demonstration of pulling in dummy transactional data. Okay, so let's begin. And just for everyone's information, I'll just show you what has been done on this account. We just have one company set up, which is this company ABC Private Limited. It's just a dummy company that we are using, and it obviously has a chart of account structure, which is the basic structure that comes with ERPNext. And at the moment, there are no bank accounts that have been set up. Okay, I'll show the COA as well. So this is just the basic structure, and no bank accounts have been added on the ledger, or no banks have been added, no bank accounts have been added. We'll be going to do that in a second. Okay, so the very first prerequisite is obviously you need to have a ledger on your chart of accounts that will be integrated. So we will just quickly add the same under our ledger, our bank accounts over here. I'll add one, you can name it anything. I'll name it Wells Fargo maybe. And since this is a dummy account, I'll just give it any account number, currency USD, and account type is bank. That's the first thing we need to do over here. Once that is done, we need to create two more things before we proceed with the integration. We need to create a bank and an associated bank account. Now that we have a ledger, we can go to the second step, which is creating a bank. I'll keep the naming quite similar. I'll leave everything as blank. It should be fine. Perfect. So now we have a bank. Let's create a bank account for this. And we need to tell the system that this pertains to our company's bank account. So I select that flag over there, and we select the same chart of account ledger that we just created 2 minutes back. And we save this. Perfect. So this is all that ERPNext requires when it comes to the prerequisites of the integration. There are two things that we need to pull from our Plaid account. Okay. Now for anyone who isn't aware, Plaid is a service. It's a fintech company that allows easy integration of various different bank accounts to integrate with various other softwares, including ERPNext. And in doing so, we pull in the transaction data from your associated bank accounts into ERPNext. And by doing so, we ensure that ERPNext doesn't hold any of your account credentials. All those are kept with Plaid, who uses state-of-the-art encryption methods. Now, how do we do that? How do we get that information? You require a Plaid account. And signing up is quite easy. I'm not going to do that. I've already done that. It takes 2 minutes. Once you have signed up, you are shown your dashboard, this area. We need two things from here. We need the client ID and we need the secret key. Essentially a username and password that will help you integrate with ERPNext. On the team settings section on your Plaid account, you'll see there's a section for keys. If you click that, you will be shown this sort of a screen. And this is where you will find your client ID and your development and sandbox credentials. Since this is a demonstration, we'll be using the sandbox credentials. The client ID remains same in case of both. So I copy that and I go back to our ERPNext instance. I search for Plaid settings. You can either use the search bar to navigate to that place, or you'll find it under integrations as well. Once you search for Plaid settings, it will show you this screen. We need to enable it and we need to paste the client ID we copied over from our Plaid account. Again, it's the one in clear text. It goes over here. Since, as I mentioned, we are using the sandbox environment, since this is going to be a demonstration, we'll be copying over the sandbox key, this one. And we paste it on the next field called as Plaid secret. Once that is, this is all the information that is required from a Plaid account. Once this is done, you can save it. There are a couple of more flags over here. So synchronize all accounts every hour is just it does exactly that. It will synchronize all your bank accounts every hour. We'll turn that on. Why not? And enable European access. So Plaid is primarily used for US and Canadian bank accounts. There are a couple of banks which are integrated with Plaid from different regions. I think France, Ireland, Netherlands. Yeah, these are the 3 or 4 regions in the European geography that also have a couple of banks that integrate with Plaid. Since we are using the US bank account here, we'll stick with that and I'll save it. Perfect. Now your setup is ready. All we need to do is link the accounts, link your bank accounts via Plaid to our ERPNext instance. And ERPNext makes it quite easy. There's a button on top that allows you to do so. Once you click that, it should show you a pop-up which will allow you to enter your bank credentials. Once you click on continue, you will be shown this sort of a screen where you can select your bank. In this case, I think I selected Wells Fargo, so I'll go with that. And this is where you will be pasting your Wells Fargo, your actual bank credentials. Since this is demonstration, Plaid allows us test credentials, so I'll add that. One thing to note, in case your bank has MFA enabled or multi-factor authentication enabled or 2-factor authentication enabled, after this step, you'll be prompted to enter your one-time password or any other authentication type that you have selected. Since this is a demonstration, we don't have that. So it will just log in. So that you can click on continue and it takes you to our ERPNext instance where you have to select your company. Once you click continue, you'll be prompted to select the bank account that we created. In this case, when we integrate with a sandbox account, it creates a dummy bank account on our site. I'll show that in a second. Bank accounts added. So now if I show you the bank account list again, you'll see that it has created two dummy bank accounts, which we can use for testing purposes. So one is a saving and one is a checking account. Perfect. Now that we have one account added, we can use the same process to add other bank accounts as well. But we'll stick with one for now for this demonstration. I won't click the sync now button just yet. I want to show you one other thing. Okay, these are what I'm showing you currently is the bank transaction screen, which you can see is empty. And I'll open up the bank record tool as well. In an ideal world, your ERP and your bank account will be perfectly in sync, which never happens in the real world. So hence we have to do reconciliation. Now, when it comes to reconciliation, there are primarily 2 methods that you can use. One is the completely manual method wherein you upload your bank statement in a particular format into the system, and it creates transactions based on your Excel file that you have imported. This task is a bit tedious to do, and it's as I said, it's a completely manual method. You'll have to do it for each and every bank account that you own, and hence it can become quite a tedious task once your bank accounts scale up. The second method is a semi-automatic method, which is Plaid in this case, wherein Plaid will fetch all your bank transactions from your respective accounts and pull them into the ERP, and it will list them over here, which is what we have been doing till now. And now I was showing that the bank transactions are empty at the moment. Let us go back to settings. Okay, I'm back on the settings page. If you click the sync now button, it will give you a pop-up saying that the sync has started in the background, and that should do it. Once you go back to the bank transaction screen, you will see that it is immediately populated by dummy transactions. In this case, in your case, it will be your actual bank transactions. And if I open one and show you, it will have all the information that you would expect, the date, the deposit withdrawal amounts, if there's any transaction ID, reference number, descriptions, and other things like that. Basic things we have on any bank transaction. Now, this is the this is all that there is to the Plaid integration setup. The next step is to employ a normal bank reconciliation workflow. I'll show that in a second. Another thing I wanted to show. If you go back to your bank account, and I think it has pulled transactions related to both checking and maybe savings. Let me verify that. Yeah. Okay. So if you go back to your bank account, you will see that there's a parameter added at the end. Entirely new section called as integration details. And whenever your last integration was run, that timestamp is noted over here for your reference. The mask is just another parameter pulled from Plaid that's not relevant. And the same thing you'll have on all your accounts that have been automatically synced. So the last transaction date can be used for your reference. Yes, going back to the bank transaction screen. As I said, now a normal bank reconciliation workflow is used after this, which is done from the bank reconciliation tool. You select whichever bank account that needs to be reconciled. I'll select the savings one. You select the date range, the closing balance as per your bank statement, and you start with the reconciliation process. And it won't make sense for me to reconcile dummy transactions, so I think I'll leave it at that. But the following steps are just as you would reconcile a normal bank reconciliation workflow, wherein you can match with your existing vouchers, or you can create new vouchers, or you can update existing bank transactions. All right, that marks the end of the demonstration and all that I wanted to show. Any questions? You can start with the questions.
I'm sure people must have questions. Got so many requests on community as well for a demonstration on Plaid integration. Here we are today.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes, sure, go ahead.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the demo. What I wanted to ask, I know your demo is focusing mainly on Plaid. I wanted to ask, is it possible, or is it possible to have is there an API that one can use specifically for bank reconciliation? I'm asking because there are different banks, and Plaid is mainly maybe for US. Let's say in the South African market, and Plaid doesn't support them, but I can maybe pull a statement and maybe try to automate this process. Is it possible to do that?
No, we don't have any other APIs that can be used for your individual banks at the moment. That's why the integration is there. And you're right, I don't think Plaid integrates with any South African bank at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Just for our information, which bank account are you specifically trying to integrate with?
FNB. So we get periodically, I'm sorry to narrow it down a bit, but we get, our clients get CSVs statements monthly, and wanted to see if we can find an automated way to make sure we import them. I know there's one way you can go and manually upload, but I wanted to see if there's an possibility to extend that integration that you have, the auto integration to an API, and get it going.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Not at the moment, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Right. We have a question here from Ben. He needs to know whether Plaid also integrates with credit card transactions. I guess not.
No, it's just those few banks that you saw.
Right.
We have about, I think, 16 or 17 banks on the US side, and we have about 7 or 8 on the European side, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Not individual credit cards at the moment.
The next question is from Jack. Is there a monthly cost? Yes, there is. It depends upon the number of number of bank accounts that you're connecting. So it's around 30 cents per connected account per month for unlimited transaction pools. We have another question.
Or maybe I can open it as well. 1 second.
Right. So usually Plaid has a contract in case your monthly usage is beyond $500 per month. That's when you can reach out to Plaid and get a contract.
Okay, I'll read out the question because it might help everyone else as well. And since this is being recorded, that might help other people. Hi, I'm currently having issues with the matching of bank transaction paths. I would be interested in Plaid, but if the normal bank report transaction matching is broken for an unknown reason, where can I help to fix this? Where can I help to fix this? So the normal bank reconciliation, the Plaid workflow is just to pull in the bank transactions. The normal bank reconciliation is no different from what we have in ERPNext already and what you can do manually. It does work as expected. So if you're having issues, maybe our support team can help with that. But it does work. If you're facing issues, our support team can definitely help you look into that. And there is no difference as such in the bank reconciliation done with Plaid or without Plaid. Okay, next question. Could you please tell me where does closing balance as per ERP comes from on the bank reconciliation screen? Right, okay. Good question. And the other can Plaid payment through.
Yeah, so ACH, Plaid does support ACH with Auth API, but that's a separate service. It doesn't come in like reconciliation services.
Bank reconciliation statement. Okay, I don't. Okay, someone had a question about this particular parameter. I'll just make sure I'm reading it correctly. 1 second. The closing balance as per ERP, right? Yeah, I'll share again. So the question is, while you're doing a bank reconciliation, you will see this parameter over here. I'll just tell you what all three are. So closing balance as per bank statement is something we add over here. So if I change it to say 200, you'll see that it changes over here as well. Closing balance as per ERP, I'll come to that in a second. The difference is, as you would expect, is just the difference between the two. Closing balance as per ERP comes from the bank reconciliation statement. It is this value over here. So if I change to that bank, think it was this one. Yeah, so if you see, it's the same value, 3382 and 3382. As for how this value is calculated, I'll mention that as well. So there's a formula here, and that is it pertains to the other values mentioned on the table. And this table is just that, it's all your transactions, your payment entries, your journal entries with your respective debit and credit values. And you have the other information, the account that it hit against, the reference number, so on and so forth. But over here, at the end, you'll see that there are three more things. Bank statement as per your general ledger is pulled from the general ledger, filtered by that particular bank on a chart of account. And it is just that value. It's the balance in that particular field. Now, the question is, where does this thing come from? And hence it is pulled on, it's pulled on the report as well. So where exactly is this being calculated from? This is equal to your bank balance as per your general ledger minus your total debits plus your total credits minus value over here. Checks and deposits incorrectly cleared. So what is this value over here? It is the values that have been wherein the clearing date is before the posting date. They are erroneous values. They're invalid values. So I'll repeat the formula once again. It is calculated bank statement balance is equal to bank statement balance as per general ledger minus total debit plus total credit plus your checks and deposits incorrectly cleared. I hope that clears the question. Any other questions?
We have another question from Luke. Does it matter which bank account login you use? For instance, if you have a bank account with multiple logins with different permissions, owner account, admin account, accounting account, this is in regard to the bank account credentials requested by Plaid during integration center. So what level of permission do you need for the login account?
On the, I see, on the bank portal,
right?
Mean. I'm not 100% sure at the moment. I would expect it to be an admin account if you're pulling in transactions. But that would, again, I think it would depend on which bank account. So I would expect all bank accounts to have a different escalation matrix and permission hierarchy. So not 100% sure at the moment, Luke, but I would expect it to be an admin account.
Right. Jack, to answer your question regarding ACH and EFT, Plaid Auth API actually authenticates the bank account for you, so you can build the ACH or EFT process around it. Any more questions? Does anybody have a feedback for how the session went today?
Will the meeting recording be accessible?
Yeah, I think it was quite good, man. I think it shows the many possibilities, especially on the integration front that you have with ERPNext. And I think it's from, at least from my side, it doesn't just become you set it up and you go. There is actually more integration that is built in that you can leverage off. Thank you.
Right. Poonam has a question. So it's actually something that she's facing with the existing Plaid integration. We connected our bank account with Plaid, but then bank notifies us that there is suspicious activity whenever Plaid tries to extract data from files. And bank asks us if it was us or change the password. How do we handle that? Ideally, we are actually in talk with Plaid to have, you know, so certain banks do come up with this error, and to resolve that, there's a way we are dealing with Plaid right now, and probably this problem should go away within a month or two.
Yes. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of things we can do at ERPNext sense,
Right?
because the data is being pulled from your bank to Plaid, and then Plaid is sending it to us. So as long as Plaid gets your data, we can receive it. But the error that you're facing, that there is a suspicious activity and your bank notifies you of that, it's an issue between Plaid and your bank. So there's not a lot of things ERPNext can do at that point.
Right.
We will share the recording. Yes.
Great. If we do not have any more questions, we'll call it a day. But thank you very much for joining the webinar today. I believe it was productive and informative for you guys. And we'll be back with another webinar next month.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good one. Bye.